Hi, my name is Irina. Today I want to introduce the essentials for greeting card making. Basics for card making for beginners. Card bases or card stock. What paper to use for card making? This sheet of paper, a 65-pound sheet of cardstock, which is very popular. I'm using this for my card making. You can buy this cardstock in Walmart or another like Joanne and Michael's. This is pretty heavy and very useful cardstock. So the second one here is 98 pounds. You can see a little bit different. It's stronger. That will be good for a couple layers or heavy decorations. There is another cardstock which also very popular for card size A7, which is 5 by 7 inches. I don't have it right now in my stock. So you also can use mixed media paper, which is 120 pounds. It's really strong paper, very nice, and if you want to attract a lot of people with the nice looking card, that is good, but that is not good for a bunch of cards to make. And the last one I wanted to tell you about watercolor greeting cards, which if you wanted to add some watercolor compositions, that will be nice because you can do watercolor front and inside as well. So that is all card bases. So there is no set cardstock for a card base. The idea for how you choose your cardstock base is how you want cards to feel when you give them away. What you want to decide is what cardstock base do you like to work with. When you start card making, you will know. Here's a tip for you. Don't go less than 65 pounds to start with. You will be glad you did that. It's already pretty thin. It's not very rich, thick cardstock. Don't go less than that. Now let's talk about cutting our cards ourselves versus buying pre-cut cards. I have here some cards which I made from pre-cut cards, and I bought it that whole package in Michael's. So here's the base pre-cut, which is ready to go. The way to decide if you should cut the cards or buy them pre-cut is up to you. You don't have time to do card base, or you desire to design in your cards. That is the examples, my cards I made from pre-cut cards. I was using the base, which is already decorated. It's already nice looking, but to make it more attractive, I was using some of stickers, which I just make a small pieces, and I also usually use some for that kind of card. I'm using some that recollections books, which have all sorts of sentiments. So I'm simply put all together, matching with the colors. Now, the way I decide whether I should pre-purchase or cut the card's bases myself is the time. With a card base that is pre-cut, pre-scored, and we have the envelope ready to go for it, I use it when I'm in hurry. If I need to cut a card base and I need to do all that, sometimes it can take a little longer. But we're talking about minutes, we're not talking about hours. Because if you are going to cut your card bases, it just takes a second. I will show you that in just a minute, in just a minute. But the way to decide is, do I want to cut the card bases or just want to decorate them? Typically, if I'm going to if I'm doing something like 100 cards that are invitations or thank you simple design cards, I'd like to buy my cards bases just because it takes me a longer time to cut those bases, plus it comes with envelopes. So a lot of times I will do that. If I don't do that, I will go by standard size envelope and make sure that the card I make fits that envelope. So instead of making that many envelopes, I just already have them pre-made. Another thing I like about cutting my own card bases is I give a lot more variety. A lot of times I'm buying paper pack just because I simply adore what I see, and then when I get home, if I want to make a card out of piece of paper, out of that paper pack, I just use some of my cardstock to match up. I'm not always using a white base. Sometimes I can use a color that matches the paper that I choose. So I do like to make my own card bases for that. And there is the example what I made using the paper, decorative paper. Usually I'm going and buying some stickers that is for this Thanksgiving, and then I'm choosing my card base and I'm using the decorations I think matches because I really like to design my own cards. Especially I like using some gold, silver, or some sparkling stuff. That is about our cutting our cards or buying pre-cut card. Now let's talk about measurement. There are 4 standard sizes of cards in the United States. They are the 4-bar card, the A2, A6, and A7. A 4-bar card is 4 7/8 by 3.5 inches when it's folded. The original size is 7 inches by 4 7/8 inches. This is the standard A2. This is 4.25 inches by 5.5 inches. And when it's opened, it's 8.5 inches across the top and 5.5 inches tall. This card is A6. The size is 6.25 by 4.5 inches, and when it's opened before it's cut, it's 9 inches by 6.25. And this is the standard A7, which is 5 by 7 inches. And when it's opened, it's 10 inches across the top and then 7 inches tall. Okay. What I suggest, pick the one you like and kind of get started with it. Don't worry about making them in all different sizes. I tend to make them in A2 for holidays and A7 for special occasions. Envelopes. Because the cards have the standard sizes, you will be able to find the envelopes for them in the store. Or you can make them by yourself using the scoring tool. Or you can find a lot of free templates for envelope making online. Talk about cutting cards. I'm going to talk about A2 size card. The reason I want to talk about them is because it will get 2 cards bases from the 8.5 and by 11 inches piece of cardstock, regardless of how you want them to go. This cardstock, if I put it in my trimmer and cut it in half at 5.5, it will give me 2 card bases. So when I fold this in half, I get a 2 size cards. Two size cards. Using the same size piece of cardstock, if I cut this piece of cardstock in half from the top and cut it at 4.25, I get 2 A2 sizes card bases. No waste when I use an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It doesn't matter if I cut across the middle or across the top, you still get 2 A2 size card bases. That's what we have from the standard cardstock paper. Here's what we cut from 8.5 by 11 inches standard cardstock that we cut from the top, across the top, and this one we cut across the middle. So for scoring, we're using a standard scoring board to be able to lay the whole cardstock in and show how to score it. So we are using this pre-cut to make a folded A2 card. So to do it, we are taking our score tools, measuring 4.25, and do our scoring, gently putting it down, gently, couple times. See, it doesn't work. So this is a pre-scored card. Nice, crisp, no bumps, nice looking card. Now, let's talk about orientation. Example, this is we scored laying down the landscape on the full length and 11 inches and scored in the half on a half, 2 even parts. And this called a top fold card. The reason is it is now folding at the top. You can easily turn this card to the side and make it a side folding card, and this card would still fit the same envelope, but it would be a landscape orientation versus portrait orientation. This is landscape orientation and portrait orientations. Now let's look at another way to score. For this card, I'm going to measure right make a mark at the middle of this cardstock, and it would be 4¼ here and 4¼ here. So we are putting ruler and using that kind of tool or the pencil, not sharp, the just folded. We can do the line right here and have the same result, so we don't, and then of course you have to a little bit adjust it using your some tools, and we are having a complete card base. So there are the difference. You can see if you are folded manually or you're folded using the scoring tool. That is the difference. Not much. That's it for this section. Okay, matting, next section. A mat is a piece of paper that you cut slightly smaller than the base that leaves you with a border trim around your mat piece. Typically, you cut a piece 1/4 of an inch smaller. So the base card is right here, and I'm going to cut my mat or first layer slightly smaller than the card. Here's the first thing you have to do if you have a 12 by 12 piece of DSP paper. Here's a template how you can cut without with small leftover strips. So you, from the full sheet 12 by 12 inches, you can cut 6 pieces of layers. That's it. And to do that, you have to make the pieces, it would be 5¼ by 4 inches, 3 of them. So we are taking four inches from here, and then you have another 2 pieces, and here we're going 5¼ to make the first mat. So if I take my card base and put all together, it would be 1/8 border on all around the mat, so that's how it works here. And here's the for you dimensions for layering cards. Say if you wanted to do 1/16 instead of 1/8, then you have to cut your mat size 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. That, say you wanted to make another layer, another mat on this card with even borders around, then you do the same thing. You're making second layer smaller on 1/8 across the card, and it would be the size 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So that will be your 2 layers of card. The last section I wanted to cover in this course is adhesives. The first rule is don't use the school glues or any adhesives because it doesn't work. The paper is looks ugly. You can see that the glue. So the professional card making use some craft glues, or you can use this score tape. It's double side, each side. In this case, this is double sided, different sizes, which you are simply putting on the card, and just around the card, and put your card base on that, and it will stay. You will need a little bit, you will be accurate to put it evenly, but you can do it. It's also, I found this kind of sort of glue, which is really good to do the gluing across the borders. So it's a nice glue, which is blue one. It's wet, and it's white. You have to use it when it becomes white. When you put blue, when it's blue, it's still wet. You have to wait a little bit. It will be white. And so these packages also have some point glues, and so that is also good. But usually I'm buying my craft glue on Amazon, and I'm really happy with that because it has everything to use it. And I also really love score tape. It's also the roll. It's a lot of different types of the craft glues you can see on Amazon. So the only thing I want to suggest for you, don't use the school glue. Well, at the end, I wanted to show you a couple of cards I made for this Thanksgiving, and my previous cards I made. Here's the if you can see, this is I use a lot of decorations here. This is sparkling. This is the stickers. I like embossing. I like every kind of decorations. So we'll make in my next video, we'll start making a simple cards or just folded A2 or A7 cards. I will teach you how to match the layers with the base, layers with the embellishments. So that is the cards I made. Proud of that. So a lot of pumpkins. That is Happy Fall card. Hello pumpkin. There is fun card I made just for kids. Very simple. And here's a more card made for 4th of July, Father's Day. Father's Day and Mother's Day. So this is really small, just note cards. So thank you for your participation. I really appreciate your time. If you like my video, you will see me in the next video session. And goodbye, my friends.